What's going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and it's July, which means we have hit the month where training camp happens. We've been itching for a football. We finally hit July. So in some of the upcoming videos that I'm going to be doing, I've been doing a lot of player profile, like individual, breaking down players, a little bit more in depth. Make sure you check those out. I'm going to keep doing those. But some of these videos, I'm going to be talking about some of these training camp battles. And as you can see, Dolphins training camp, I got some dates on the scroll there for when rookies are going to report, when veterans are going to report. But the way I'm going to do these, I'm going to flip up a graphic throughout the video. And the way I grouped things out was I listed a projected starter, projected backups, and then the list of guys that are either going to be battling for backup roles or legit battling for a roster spot in general. But your assignment in the comments below, let's hear which running backs you think are going to make the Miami Dolphins 53-man roster. And in general, I want to hear which training camp battles you are most looking forward to as well. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribing because, like I said, we're going to be pumping out a ton of videos before now in preseason and then obviously throughout the season as well. But I talked about that graphic, so let's spin that up there right now. And as you can see, projected starter, projected backups, and then people battling for the backup role or a roster spot. Well, let's start with that projected starter, Chase Edmonds. So if you look at Chase Edmonds, he is, in my opinion, the most complete running back that this team has on its roster. He's also, I believe, the only one that signed beyond this year contract-wise. But if you look at Edmonds, he's got the speed that Mike McDaniel craves. He's got the running in the zone blocking scheme that Mike McDaniel has brought in. He's good as a pass catcher. He's really kind of a do-it-all guy, even though so far in the NFL, he really hasn't been asked to outright carry the load. He's kind of always been with another person. And I actually think we're going to see a lot of that with the Dolphins as well. Yes, I've got him penciled in as the starter. But if you think about the way that this team is made up, the running backs they kind of have a guy that can do a lot of different things. They're going to specialize. It's going to be more of a running back by committee. But if you're looking for the main guy, in my opinion, at this point, it is Chase Edmonds. Let's talk a little bit about those projected backups. As you can see there, got Raheem Mostert, got Sony Michel. Let's start with Mostert because he is coming back from that injury. He hasn't been seen in OTAs, hasn't been seen in the camp so far. But all reports say he's going to be ready by week 1. And even though he's missing out on these reps, what he does have, he has the trust, he has the knowledge, he has the experience with Mike McDaniel in this kind of scheme that he wants to run. So yeah, reps are great, and the other people on this roster need those reps. If there's one person that probably could get by without the reps, it is Raheem Mostert. So I still have him penciled in probably as that 2 guy right now, running back 2. But you think about what he does as well. He's got the zone blocking scheme. He's got crazy speed. He's one of the fastest guys in the entire league, regardless of position, and he gets it done as a pass catcher as well. He's a little bit older, but at the end of the day, he's the perfect kind of running back by committee kind of guy. So I see him getting a lot of carries as well. Let's go on to Sony Michel. You can see him listed there as the other backup, another guy that I definitely have making the squad. And why I do, Miami went out of their way to sign him. They had all these other in-house guys. You know what they did? They brought in another guy. If you look at Sony Michel, also another guy that specializes in a few different areas. Good in pass pro, good in goal line, good in short yardage. And I've said this on Fins Up Network before. I was a huge Sony Michel fan coming out of Georgia. And to be honest, he hasn't really lived up to the expectations that I had, that others had, that the Patriots had when they drafted him. Here's the deal, though. He's going to get you what's given. He's not the guy that usually breaks a ton of tackles, extends plays out, super shifty, which is a bit unfortunate. But Miami has those guys. We talked about some of those guys already. Short yardage, grind it out, goal line guy, do some dirty work. Sony Michel is that guy. He can make the roster because of that. But let's look at those other guys battling for the backup spot, battling for a roster spot. Myles Gaskin, Salvon Ahmed, Gerrid, Doaks, ZaQuandre White. So obviously Gaskin, Ahmed were on the actual team last year. Doak spent most of the time on the practice squad. ZaQuandre White was an undrafted free agent this year. Let's lump Gaskin and Ahmed together as we talk about them and break those down a little bit. Talked about this before as well. If the Dolphins are coming down to who's going to end up making this roster, and they want the guys that have been here, that have some experience versus some of the rookie younger guys, Ahmed and Gaskin are your guy. But if they want to see what they have, they want to kick the tires on some young guys, they want to try something new, both of these guys are either candidates for just barely making the roster, potentially being dealt, or potentially not making the roster. But if you look at Gaskin, he's probably the better pure runner between him and Ahmed. But Ahmed is a better pass catcher. Ahmed also has the speed. He's probably a better fit for this scheme, whereas Gaskin has been kind of labeled as the old like square peg, round hole. Maybe not quite as good of a fit. I'm going to throw that graphic up there again so you can kind of see what we've got there. And then if you look at the next two guys, Doaks and White. So Doaks, you got as a late round pick last year, made the practice squad, and then ZaQuandre White, undrafted free agent this year. So Doaks probably has a little bit of a leg up just because of the fact that he was here last year. But if you think about it, a lot of the coaching staff obviously wasn't here. And they were the ones that picked up ZaQuandre White as the undrafted free agent. So the battle is going to come down, in my opinion, to all four of these guys. But if you look at what the Dolphins have here, it's ZaQuandre White, who's got that experience in the zone blocking scheme that maybe is a little bit better of a fit. But at the same time, he's a little bit of an outlier body type scheme-wise because he's taller for a running back. He runs upright. He doesn't have that much mileage. If you remember back to the player profile I did on him, he started out as linebacker at Florida State. He has, I don't remember the number off the top of my head now, but limited carries as a collegiate D1 and running back. Go back and watch that player profile. I got some interesting stats and everything in there. And then Doaks, he almost had a chance last year, but when he came off the practice squad, I think COVID hit him and he never really got that chance. So it's going to come down to these guys, the ones that you have listed there, as to who can step up in training camp, in preseason, who can make the splash plays, who can maybe take advantage of an injury to one of the top three guys listed above there, who can really stand out and earn that roster spot. Because at the end of the day, you still need to remember that at least one fullback is going to make this roster, and that's likely Alec Ingold. So we're looking at definitely three running backs making it, but who knows after that? It's hard to determine what the coaching staff is going to do in regards to numbers at each position. But everyone that I had listed there likely isn't going to be making this team. I mean, we have a couple of practice squad spots like ZaQuandre White and Doaks. Obviously, they'd still be eligible for it. But at the end of the day, in order to be safe, you would rather just make the straight up 53-man roster. But that's what I've got today for the running back position. Like I said, let's hear your thoughts as well. Who do you have making the Dolphins 53? Do you have any of those guys making the practice squad? And in general, in regards to training camp, who else, what other battles do you want to hear? Because I'll probably end up doing videos on those as well. But that's what I've got for today, Miami Dolphins fans. Until next time, fins up.